Choose wise and you'll find that pain leads to ascending. Till I'm dead and buried deep within a cemetery, I will fight, never weary, I wanna be legendary. Till I'm dead and buried deep within a cemetery, I will fight, never weary, I wanna be legendary. That's alright, I don't work at a fast pace. I'm a steady horse creeping up straight past it. And once I pass you, no one's getting past me. I've seen people hit walls and they stop there. I don't get that mind, man, it sounds scared. Good things take time, better prepare, cause anything great takes pain as a fair. Take it from me, cause I got to this place where no one can tell me to do anything. I call my own shots, I call my own place. I enjoy my life almost every day, and I could teach you if you listen to me. You follow some rules, don't need gifts to be paid. Persistence is better than brains any day. Just listen to me and I'll show you the way. In our souls, we can feel there's something empty. We need something more. I feel destiny, she tempts me, tells me there's two paths, they both have a different ending. Choose wise and you'll find that pain leads to ascending. Till I'm dead and buried deep within a cemetery, I will fight, never weary, I wanna be legendary. Till I'm dead and buried deep within a cemetery, I will fight, never weary, I wanna be legendary. Hands wrapped, knuckles taped black. Pick my gloves up off the mat. Fighting's all I ever had. Wasn't born with tons of gifts. Had to work hard as a kid. Know that everything I did was to catch the other kids. Slowly built that self-esteem. Turned myself to a machine. I'd compete so I'd be seen. I would lose and I'd succeed, but you'd never see me quit. I'd always get after it. Knew I had a different gift. I'd outwork any other kid. Deep within our souls, we can feel there's something empty. We need something more. I feel destiny, she tempts me, tells me there's two paths.
Konbawa, konnichiwa, ohayo gozaimasu, whatever the case may be. Ore wa Yamashita Marko desu. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. It's shit. That was loud. That woke me up. My entire OBS just like completely has been completely screwed up since it. How's it going, guys? Sorry for that momentary burst of sound. Calvin, how's it going? Umberto, how's it going? Same-san. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, I saw that. I saw that my senpai has finally hit 1,000. I am very happy that she's been able to hit that benchmark before the end of the year. I know she's been working extremely hard trying to get there. I actually got motivated to do this stream tonight by her after I checked my my Twitter and saw that she had hit 1,000, and we talked a little bit earlier today, or for her last night. And she basically gave me some encouragement to actually try to do something. So I really wanted to just kind of put this stream out there so I can explain to you guys what exactly is happening. Is it low? Hang on. And test. Mic. How's that? Is that better? Okay. Yeah, like I said, I may end up having to like completely reinstall OBS because this last update just completely messed everything up. I'm not sure why exactly that happened, but it is what it is. I know that a lot of us with this last update, we've had nothing but trouble. Like all of our settings got this like destroyed. Myself, Roboco, Ankaro, just a whole bunch of us. We've all like had our settings destroyed or changed or altered. I don't know what they did with the update, but it's just been kind of weird. So anyways, I wanted to do a talk stream, basically to let the people out there know. Yeah. Well, there's the Streamlabs version, that's kind of like OBS, but not really OBS. Which is marginally better, but it's less customizable. OBS is pretty much like a blank sheet, and you can, tweak it however you want. As opposed to like Streamlabs basically is more pre-configured with template like structure, so you can, if you just want to broadcast and go, you can go. That's basically how it is. Or OBS is more power user type friendly. But so as everyone knows, I have I've taken the graduation of Makoto and Akira extremely hard, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There was a part of me for a while in the last couple weeks that basically said, I want out. Out of streaming and being a VTuber completely, because there's a dirty side to being the VTuber. There really is. some of it involves, corporate politics. Some of it involves a lot of deception towards the viewer. Some of it involves the fact that as a streamer, you get attached to your viewers. The people that genuinely love their community, they get attached to their viewers, and circumstances rip them away from their viewers. And I got to a point where I have a lot of dirt on a lot of stuff. Okay, let's put it this way. As many of you know, with everything that happened with Russia earlier this year, I started doing my own digging, and I was able to find and get into quite a few shady places that had quite a number of dirt on stuff. Okay, and some of it, unfortunately, kind of shattered the illusion of the VTubers out here, especially the popular ones. The other part of it was, everyone is human. Everyone that goes, everyone has their own secrets. That they are no different. And I was, and so for me, it was kind of like, okay, you compartmentalize it. You take it for what it is. And you realize that, hey, there is a person behind there. And that's when I have always gone by the mantra of that you support the talent. You don't support the brand. You don't support, the agency behind them. I don't support Hololive. I support Roboco. I don't support Hololive. I support Mel. That kind of thing. And that's the mantra I have always gone by. And then last month came around, and Makoto and Akira, the talent, got stripped away from us. And I could no longer live by that mantra, because I know that they're out there. I know that they are that they're alive and well, and that they're doing okay, physically and everything else. But I am completely cut off from them. I have no way of giving them that support. The only way I can show them support right now is by third party, by either writing something, like fan mail, and then having it delivered to them. But I'm never going to hear them respond to it, which makes everything extremely one-sided. And for me, that is just not acceptable, and I'm not saying that it's wrong that they keep those two away from us. Okay, that's their business. That's their side of things. I'm not criticizing them. I'm not criticizing anybody on that side. Okay, what I am saying is that for me, on a sociological standpoint of where VTubers are right now, it's the same topic that I have come back to over and over and over again this entire year, is that the culture within our industry has two distinct sides to it, and that there needs to be a change within that whole mantra of how it works. You know, there's all these unwritten rules that you're supposedly having to live by and go by when you're a VTuber. And it's wrong. It's plain wrong. If you are a VTuber and you have to graduate, okay, and you're getting cut off from your fan base, the people that you love and the people that love you, and you're getting cut off from them, and you are forbidden to talk to any of them, that's wrong. I mean, what's the matter with people here? I mean, where are, for example, okay, Go Nippon, okay, all the people, the 10, 15,000 people that are subscribers to that channel, where are they gonna go? They're gonna go to other VTubers anyways, right? So why not at least keep them with the same voice actors, or the same people that voiced your characters wherever they may go? And then when you know, and they're going to be doing another visual novel, you're going to have an installed fan base when that third novel comes out. You hire those people to do the voices. You have a 15,000 plus installed fan base waiting for you once the visual novel comes out. You know, and as if you're a publisher, I mean, it's a no-brainer. If you get 1,000 people to download that thing, as opposed to not, you know, just like, oh yeah, well, yeah, we're releasing our first visual novel in like, you know, like 8 years. Yeah, okay, yeah, please buy it. I mean, really? No. I mean, it's insane. It's insane. Okay, it makes me so angry that this is the way that it has to be. And hey, I get it. You have a culture. You have a culture that's in place. That's in Japan. You have, you know, there's the cultural differences. There's the East versus the West. I get all that. I really do. And believe it or not, that there's a lot that I agree with that they do in Japan that I wish that they would do in the United States and elsewhere. I mean, not to segue too far, but VTubers, if you are going to go out there and claim that you are an idol and that you have idol privileges, then act like a fucking idol that you are trying to imitate from Japan. I have yet to find another VTuber out here, especially on Twitch. That's why I don't dare touch Twitch. I don't stream on Twitch because of the garbage that's over there. I'm sorry. If you're a Twitch streamer, I'm sorry. I would rather have less than 10 people watch me a day than have the bottom feeders over on Twitch sit there and claim to be my fans. Because all the other garbage that's out there, I mean, I am not going to sit there for 2 hours trying to collaborate with another streamer who's dropping F-bombs every other minute. I'm sorry, that's not the way I roll. That's just not the way I roll. I mean, you guys know. I mean, my regulars know that when I get mad, yeah, I start cursing. When I get freaked out, I start cursing. Have any of you guys heard me curse just, in passing? Hell no. I don't need to sit there and like, oh yeah, that was so fucking cool. That was so fucking cool, man. I was just fucking killing everybody like shit, I was just dropping bombs like anything, I was just jumping out of airplanes and I was just riding that plane down there, and then I just dropped that grenade right down that fucker right in the fucking mouth, and and then I did that power jump, and then I pulled out my sidearm and I was capping them asses like nothing like even before. And then we won championship. I mean, that's how some of these people sound, and it sounds so fucking stupid. I'm sorry. That's the end of my swearing. Makoto and Akira were not like that. They didn't have to curse. They didn't have to curse to be entertaining. They didn't have to curse to be, to have a good time. I mean, that's why, that's why when I've been playing with people lately, I don't even stream when I'm playing with other VTubers, because half the time they speak Japanese. For one thing, they speak Japanese, and they're afraid to collaborate with an English speaker. And then the second thing is, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't want to force them into that, into feeling uncomfortable with, trying to do their stream while trying to talk to me and trying to work things out and trying to figure out, how's communication gonna go, are we on the same page, all that other stuff. So I mean, honestly, that's why I feel like, I mean, when those two graduated, I mean, there's a big hole in my PM schedule now. And the ironic thing is that, I mean, for whatever reason, and I'm assuming that it has to do with scheduling, schedule conflicts and everything else, but Pina has been doing like a lot of AM streams, and a lot of her collabs lately have had to have her stream in the mornings. So I mean, that leaves even a bigger hole, and she don't stream 5 days a week. So the combination of Pina, and her schedule, and then the loss of Makita. I mean, it just, I can't listen to women be salty while they're streaming. I can only take so much of it. There's only one person I can listen to, to be that salty on a regular basis, and that's Mori. She's the only one. After that, it's like, no, I'm done. I'm just done. I can't listen to it. As much as I joke around and I try to act like I'm trying to flirt with Akamana from Play Asia. I mean, I not to segue too far again, but she reminds me of an old girlfriend so bad. From like, yeah, from like 10 years ago. No, actually it's been longer than that. It's been 15 years ago. Yeah, it's been 15 years. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you didn't know PlayAsia has their own VTubers? Yeah. PlayAsia has their own VTubers. Akamana. And Pam. There's Aka's. Oops, I pulled that off of Twitter, but yeah, that's Aka's. And then Pam Obake. They both are they're the official VTubers for PlayAsia. They man, they are they're very unsay so. Just warning you. They are probably on the level of they are no, they're on the level of K-san, but let's put it that way. They're if they were if they belong to anybody in particular, they either be like on the level of K-san, or they would be members of Vizojo. That's how they are. But I mean, I'll sit there and like I'll sit there and I'll taunt Akka, right? And Akka has a very, very dirty mind. I mean, she has a very, very dirty mind. She's like, it's like if it's like if Marine were to like be completely unrestrained. She would be Akka. Let's put it that way. Okay. But you know, and 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I wouldn't have minded that. I really wouldn't have minded that. You know, I mean, 10 years ago, my priorities were different. 15 years ago, my priorities were different. I mean, honestly, back then it was all about getting laid. You know, I mean, that's the way I was. I was just all about getting laid. You know, Akka's about, you know, all about you know, taunting the guys out there that just want to get laid. That, I mean, it works, you know, but it's not, you know, the type of person I am now. And I mean, that's why, like, I gravitate more towards, you know, I gravitated more towards, you know, Akira, Makoto, Ankuro, like, you know, I mean, she honestly, she does get kind of, you know, semi foul mouth when in Japanese, but You know, she does it in such a cute way within her VTuber personality that it you know it works. You know, and it's you know, she turns it into being like sounding foul mouthed to more of you know, the butt end of a joke, or you know, a comedy type of routine for herself. So you know, it shines her presentation in a more positive light, as opposed to like, oh yeah, well, you know, this is just whatever, you know, and if you don't like it, you know, F you. I mean, that's the way she is, you know. You know, Hoshinan, you know, she can get like really pissed off, and I've seen her like really pissed off and heard her really pissed off. But usually when she gets to that point, she's like, okay, that's it, end of stream, and then she goes and blows her stack, you know. But she tries not to do that like on stream, you know. She doesn't try to, you know, she doesn't just she doesn't just like let her mood itself necessarily dictate the entirety of, you know, how she treats and talks to her audience. You know, she still tries to take her audience into consideration. Well, PlayAsia's had their VTubers now for well over a year. I've talked to Pam for at least, I want to say close to a year. But you know, that's just kind of where I'm at with things, guys. It's that, you know, I mean, I've been, look, I'm a big softie when it comes to a lot of this stuff, all right? I mean, I lost two people that were very much like my little sisters. You know, it was literally like I would cut it literally felt like, you know, I'd either get home, eat supper, and then I get to play with my little sisters, or I get to listen to my little sisters talk, you know. I mean, I know it sounds stupid. I know a lot of people have told me that, you know, they think it sounds stupid, or that, you know, immature or whatever. But I never got to grow up with that stuff. I never got to sit there and listen to my little sister ramble on. I never got to sit there and you know, bully my little sister, you know, playing video games. I never got to make those memories, man. Why? Because I had a sister 7 years older than me who constantly abused me. To this day, my older sister still treats me like garbage. She treats me below garbage. She treats me below the, you know, below the manure that you would find on the ground from a cow. That's how low she treats me. If you want me to paint a picture for you. That's how little she thinks of me. Hell, she hasn't called me or talked to me since we buried my mother over a year ago. What kind of sister does that, man? Not even a happy birthday, Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Are you doing okay? I know Mom's death really hit you hard. How are you doing? She don't care about me. The very first time I actually got to talk to Akira, she had actually like looked at my Twitter wall. She told me to stop being so hard on myself. And then she said I see that you list off all these other VTubers that you love and care about. What about me? Where's your little sister at on this? I mean, there's a lot of people that just, they're just, they were just acting, they were just playing parts. That was just part of, the character that they were. And most of those people have never sat behind a VTuber avatar and realized after they've been streaming just how much of themselves they put into their avatar. You shape your personality just as much as the VTuber avatar shapes you as a person. And that's just the way it is. I mean, you choose, or in some cases only don't choose, depending on if you get to choose which avatar you get to use, or if you're designing your own, you still put a certain personality within there that you end up living by, and you still put a part of yourself into that. I mean, the only way you can truly become, Marko Yamashita, Roboco, Noel, Calliope Mori, Amelia Watson, Gargura, so on and so forth. The only way you can be those VTubers is to be that VTuber. Even if it's only, like Mori used to say, it's only 10, maybe 15% of who she is that she's putting out there. That's still 10 to 15% of the person you are inside. That you still dedicate to that time that you stream, where you turn yourself into that person. Or you allow that part of yourself to come out. And that's what I lost. That's what we lost. That's what hurts so much, man. I mean, most companies out there, they look at you know, a VTuber much like how people worry about how, you know, people look at AI in a lot of aspects. You know, if AI finally evolves to the point where we are able to have robots, uh, you know, animatrons that walk around, that act lifelike, they talk lifelike, and all that other stuff. Are we gonna treat them like disposable, characters like NPCs that can easily be replaced because they come off of an assembly line, or they're computer generated? I mean, that's what a lot of people treat, just a VTuber model as, despite the fact that there was a personality behind her at one point. That's why so many VTubers out there, they fight and they fight and they fight because they, at the end of the day, they don't want to be forgotten. They don't want, a year, 2 years, however many years they tried to make it, they want somebody out there to remember them. They don't want to, say, well, I spent 5 years doing this, but nobody remembers me doing it. No one wants that. I mean, I think that's probably what bothers me, What bothers me the most is that about the whole culture right now is that five years from now is Akira and Makoto just going to be a cliff note on a Wikipedia page? Or are they gonna, is anybody gonna remember them? Is anyone but me gonna even care about them anymore? I mean, honestly, I don't know. I really thought about wanting to try to push again to make my channel more than what it is. But I mean, I don't know if I really have what it takes to live in that kind of world. I really don't, because honestly, I'm not the type of guy or gamer out there that can, make enough noise or even wants to make enough noise to attract enough attention to myself, either good or bad, to get that popularity up there. I mean, Hell, and again, I don't have any talent. I can sit here and ramble for hours on end. I can suck at video games pretty good. I don't know if you call that talent. But I don't know. I really don't. I mean, I know that I can definitely talk enough about controversial things that I can piss a lot of people off. I don't know if that would make a difference. Yeah, so basically, last couple weeks I've done a lot of not necessarily soul searching, but more of trying to determine, which way I really want to take this, because I know that there's a big part of me that wants to continue to reach out towards people, because of the type of person I am. I enjoy talking to the smaller VTubers. I enjoy trying to encourage them. I enjoy trying to support them. To make sure that to try to help them, in some small way, to be successful. I do enjoy, playing games with people, with other people, in front of people. Trying my best and being really bad at games, but I really enjoy it. I mean, it's fun. I've had a lot of fun this year just doing that kind of stuff with people on this channel, and I appreciate people that come back. But I think that at the end of the day, I really want to find out, or I need to I need to really Hey Oreo, Ohio. No problems, no worries, my friend. No worries. I'm glad you made it. I was just kind of talking about how, what what's been going on, and how I've been feeling, and what I'm struggling with right now, and I think the hardest thing that I've been struggling with is that, you know, they're not here anymore. You know, they're not here anymore. But, you know, I mean, there's holes in my life that now that just feels incomplete. I've taken a lot of um, I've taken a lot of my connections and a lot of, you know, my friendships and a lot of the, you know, a lot of the um, collaborations with other VTubers. I've taken a lot of those things for granted, you know, and um, you know, just assumed that they would always be there, and you know, they're not. So, you know, it really hurts. It really hurt. It does hurt because um, you know, you build those relationships with them, and you think, well, you know, are they, you know, they're going to be there, and they're not. So I I can't look at this as a business. You know, contrary to what a lot of people. That's very true. You know, I mean, there is the possibility that you know, and I know that a lot of people have, you know, mentioned the same thing, that you know, they may not necessarily come back as, you know, Akira or in Makoto, but they may come back in some way, shape, or form. You know, and I would be very, very, very happy, you know, if that happens and when that happens, you know, um, because I would be able to hear them again, you know, and I really, I mean, honestly, I would really. I would really, you know, I mean, even if they have to, you know, quote unquote change character because they, you know, they're, you know, portraying a different characterization of a VTuber. I mean, you know, Rushia has always been Rushia, even though she's, you know, Miki Nico and Nazuna, you know? Coco has always been Coco, even even though we know that Coco was Keisan and Keisan is Keisan, you know. You, you know that there's a part of them that is always, again, there's a part of them that is always them. You know, if you need two examples of personalities that constantly carry over, that is not, you know, inherently attributed solely to the VTuber character, those are two prime examples right there. You know, they they are just not. I mean, I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm also gonna I'll throw out Fauna's name out there, because if you heard and know Fauna's aliases and her past streams, you would know that she's fairly much the same person. You know? Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's there's countless examples of, people that constantly, their personality is always, imprinted inherently into their character, because it's part of who they are, but you know I I just hate this, that I can hear Akira's voice in my head, and I'm speaking metaphorically, but I can hear her in my head yelling at me, saying, you know, you know, you're not feeling sad because of us, right? You're you're just because we're not streaming anymore doesn't mean that we aren't with you, right? You still love us, right? So you're still doing your best, right? So you're not gonna give up, right? I mean, I constantly, I mean, they're every time I start feeling down, I constantly hear her like yelling at me like that, and it's, metaphorically speaking, of course, you know. and it makes me laugh, but at the same time, it's like it drives me kind of nuts, because it's like, you know, I just want to turn around and say, Akira, I am trying my best. I am trying so hard. I'm trying my best not to be sad, not to miss you guys, not to, you know. Not to cry when I listen to them sing karaoke. When I, you know, just want someone to listen to. While I'm working on something. You know, I've had too many people, tell me, oh, you have all these feelings for these VTubers and stuff like that, and it's like, I mean, yeah, I love them like sisters. I love almost every VTuber like a sister, with the exception of two. And those two are not Akira and Makoto. Akira and Makoto, I loved as sisters. Because I could sit there and listen to them argue, fight, be scaredy little coward cats in their safety pot, cry on the porch, I could do all that, and it just would bring a smile to my face, you know. Pyro, thank you for dropping in. It is the connection. It really is. They can they I mean, God, they were able to connect with their audience, and they weren't selling or pushing you know any kind of merch or buy this or you know right now we're selling that. I mean they were like part of what the original agenda supposedly was to be more of like here's manga gamers, we have all these visual novels, etc., 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 you know but they didn't have to and today we are playing this game here, which is sponsored solely by Manga Gamer. If you check on the description, you can buy the game right now for $39.99. The description, there's more information in the description below, so if you can click on the link below, and buy the merch, right now you'll get 15% off and free shipping if you click on the link below and buy my merch. But make sure you buy the merch, because if you buy the merch, you're supporting me and Manga Gamer. So if you can buy the merch, and it's like, yo, are you a billboard, or am I like watching a commercial right now? And where's the skip button? I mean, Akira and Makoto weren't like that. They would play visual novels that were from Manga Gamer. But the way that they sold them to the viewers and the public were purely like fans. It wasn't like like a talking billboard. And that was what was so great about them, because I mean you could ask them about a visual novel or a video game or any of that kind of thing, and they would actually be able to respond to you, not just like a salesperson, but as like a fellow gamer or a fellow like visual novelist, visual novel lover, that I mean, Makoto was just like bang 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 as soon as you ask her a question on that kind of thing. Yeah, I mean it. I mean, I really hope that they they find a home somewhere, and they're able to come back in some way, some capacity, because it's honestly it's a real shame that they are not to be able to reach a person who is inherently an introvert or a lurker. They're afraid of being themselves because they're afraid of being judged, and to be able to reach those types of people and say, hey, look, it's okay, come on, I like the same things, let's play together, let's do something together, let's enjoy the visual novel together, let's enjoy this game together, let's enjoy I mean, I mean, for a guy like me, it's like, yeah, you never had a chance to to have sisters. Okay, You know, we're your sisters. We'll be your sisters. Come hang out with us. You know, to have someone just like readily accept you like that, and to be and to, say, look, it's okay that you like these games. It's okay that you have you have your waifus. I'm not gonna like your waifus because I'm better, but I, it's still okay that you have a waifu. But just make sure that I'm your top waifu, or else there's gonna be problems. I mean, that's the kind of girls they were. And as long as you agreed with that, it's like, okay. But I mean, how many of us, I mean, I don't know about people that are currently listening, but I mean, there there were plenty of us that were in the audience that were like, okay, okay, Aki, you are top waifu. I mean, you don't want to admit it, you don't want to blow us kisses, you don't want to say that you love us, but I mean, you are a top waifu. Okay, we will admit to that. Just to make you happy. I mean, that's just kind of like how it was. But uh, I mean, you know, yes, 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 Pyro, you're exactly right. See, and that's why I love. I mean, that's exactly what I love about specific VTubers, Pyro. And you are so right. You are so right, because they took the time to read everyone's comments, and they took the time to connect with you. You know that there is a huge problem, especially in my opinion, and this is my personal opinion, okay? But there's a huge problem within what that I feel that you know a lot of, like, especially like Japanese VTubers, you know, if you don't akaspa them, they don't acknowledge you. Maybe if you throw out a $50 one, maybe they'll acknowledge you. But unless you throw out an akaspa, they don't acknowledge you, man. And it's like, you talk to other Japanese fans. It's like, well, they might read it, and you're just throwing a loose, quote unquote, loose change anyways. I was like, yeah, but you realize how much quote unquote loose change they get per month out of everyone who says that they're throwing quote unquote loose change? It's like, they could be a little thankful and at least try to acknowledge the people that are giving them money. I mean, and they were always so grateful to everyone who, subscribed to them, to that the people that were part of memberships, people who donated memberships, the people who, did they gave them super chats, they read them, they spent time, reading the super chats, commenting on them, trying to respond to them. Sometimes they would think of things that were just, very quick and witty on the spot to reply to them on those things. Yes, exactly. And that's one of I mean, that's one of the nicer things about smaller VTubers. And at the same time, you know, I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I mean, again, for those of you who are newer, I mean, that's why Roboco has always captured my heart, guys. Because I mean, there's been so many times where I've left comments in English and Japanese, and Roboco has acknowledged them, by dropping a heart on them, especially last year when I was when I was about to lose my mother, you know And I mean, there were times where I would, I would leave a comment and and tell her, thank you for today's stream. You know, the 2 to 3 hours or however long that she streamed is pretty much going to be my only break today, because I'm comforting my mom, and in this last stretch it's been very stressful, but hearing your voice gives me the strength to go on, things like that. I mean, there was one time where, like, I just poured my heart out to her and I said, look, I'm going through all this stuff. And, your voice has been the only thing that has really, gotten me through these days, because, it's like I wake up and I know my mom's gonna be in pain. She's gonna be hurting, but I gotta be strong for her. And the only thing that gets me through is knowing that I can wake up and I can watch and listen to you. And I just want you to know that you've been, you know you've been, the strength that I've needed, because I know I can look forward and know that you're gonna be there the next day, you know. And she didn't heart anybody else's comment in that entire stream. Okay, I mean, there was like, several hundreds of comments, and mine was the only one that she put a heart on, that she left a heart on. And another English commenter came along, and they said, they left a very nice message, and they said, Marko, I want you, in case you haven't noticed, Roboco didn't heart anyone else's message for this stream except for yours. So if it helps you get through this dark time that you're going through, please know that your message was received by her. And it meant so much to me, because I mean, it's like, exactly, she is like she is one of the few VTubers that I absolutely adore. And honestly, honest to God, man, I mean, like, I know I don't have no chance with her. Honest to God, I mean, like, if there was one VTuber I could, like, absolutely fall head over heels over, it would be Roboco. Because, I mean, she's on hiatus right now, partly because she ended up getting a new place, and that she's moving, but she's also on hiatus right now because she lost one of her kittens, and it broke her heart. One of the kittens that she had been, had, when she got her, she was already really sick, and she was trying to nurse her back to health and everything, and they thought she was getting better, and then she took a turn for the worst, and then the kitten ended up passing away, and it just broke her heart, man. And she's been absolutely just, she was just devastated for days. She wrote that she I mean, I would be too if I came home one day from work and, you know, my little one was dead, you know? Yeah, exactly, exactly. You know, I mean, that, and I get that, everyone wants their 15 minutes of fame. Everyone wants to be somebody, wants to be remembered. I get all that, you know. I mean, I want nothing but success for people like, my senpai Ankaro, you know, Hoshinon has really been pushing lately to try to be a little bit more professional and thinking of, especially with the way the economy is right now, of trying to find a way of, you know, monetizing that to help her with her income. I mean, a lot of other people are really hurting right now, and they want to be able to turn to what they enjoy doing to help them supplement their current income, and I get all that, and I get that, the big VTubers out there, that's their job, that's what they do, it's like, okay, that's fine, but at the end of the day, I mean, just 2 years ago, almost all these same VTubers were telling us, especially the big ones, they were telling us, hey, you guys aren't just open wallets to us, your fans, your viewers, your listeners. We're just happy that you're here. And now 2 years later, it's like, buy this, buy that, buy this. Oh yeah, we're having this show here. Make sure you buy tickets for that, and buy the merch while you're there. And while we're doing this, we're also giving this away. And then if you go to these stores, you have limited edition items here, and buy this, buy that. We have partners here, and if you we're collaborating with this group here. So if you spend money here, you get this, and it's like, yo, I mean, I know business gotta make money, but I mean, 99% of us, we're here because we care about the girls. We care about the talent. We care about the guys that are, the talent that's behind the avatars that you keep trying to push down our throats. Better late than never. Welcome. It's very priceless, man. It's very priceless. There's a lot to be said about the gratefulness and the appreciation of smaller VTubers who are just trying to make it or make a name for themselves, or they're trying to establish themselves as part of the community versus it's kind of like it's kind of like the old argument between people that are corporate versus the independent shop owner type person. The independent shop owner may be a little bit more expensive than the corporate or the franchise store, but the interactivity, the hospitality, everything else is so much significantly better than you just being treated as another customer type thing. And that's not to say that the Hololive girls are completely oblivious to their listeners' feelings. I'm not saying that at all. A lot of it, again, it goes back to being maturing within a certain culture, being taught within a certain culture, and having to live in a certain culture. Well, see, that's well, that's an interesting question, Calvin, because um, it's a hard question to answer. Yeah, that's part of the answer, and that's a very good um, preface to the answer. Um, See, part of the thing that is happening right now is with the yen taking such a nosedive versus all the other currency out there in the world, and this kind of also goes back to where what I had been talking about, doing a stream about. Um, Hololive concentrates solely on their Japanese audience. I'm sorry, for all of us English speakers out here. Um, Even though our English Hololive members have millions of fans, their monetization model is solely Japan. It's like 90% Japan. And if you look at the growth numbers, growth wise, um, they um, if you look at growth numbers, there is a significant gap between how hard Hololive JP is pushed versus how hard Hololive English is pushed. Okay, and because of that, and the fact that the yen is now maybe a third of the value of what the dollar is, that they've seen their profit margins significantly dwindle because of their monetization model. Okay, and I mean, if you look at this entire year has been a complete merch push. You know, they have almost literally been pushing merch with almost, not every, but with a lot of just costume reveals. I mean, costume reveals. Suddenly they're pushing merch when Luna released her new costumes, when Marine released her new costumes, when of course when the swimsuits came out, they pushed that merch, and then the 3D models, I mean, there was suddenly a big slew. I mean, did you notice that Hololive all of a sudden gave every single girl finally in Hololive, after how many years, they finally gave every single one of them a 3D model, only after their competition was showing them up with 3D model technology and the fact that they could actually get their talent in 3D models that didn't suck. Did you notice that? Did you notice that it took them they gave an entire generation that started 8 months after Luffy um started. They gave the entire generation of Hollow X 3D models. They started 8 months later. They gave that entire generation 3D models before they gave her model. 8 months. And she was literally being a poster girl for Hololive the entire time. And the only reason why they didn't give her model first was because her growth numbers had stagnated while Hollow X completely took off. So they gave Hollow X their models first. That's sad. That's really sad. I mean, they made her wait. They some of them, so I may be wrong, but there was a lot of Hollow Myth. I think it was Hollow Myth. Not Hollow Myth. What was it? Was it the console? It was either the console or it was Hollow X. One of the two got their models before the rest of Hollow Myth got theirs. I think she got her model finally. She's such an airhead. I have a hard time following her because I just facepalm the entire time. Oh my goodness. I really do. I facepalm the entire time because she I don't know if she intentionally does it or if she unintentionally does it, but she makes so many comments that have so many double meanings throughout her entire streams that sometimes I look at her and I'm like, you're a little sus to me. But honestly, I'm not sure. I haven't followed her. JP companies are also pushing JP merch models on the world. How much more Hollow EN merch could they sell if... Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. You know, and part of the thing is, you know, I made the comment several months ago when we were, you know, looking back at everything. And I made the strict comment that I said, you know, the fact of the matter is, you know, Hololive, people forget that Hololive is not, despite what it looks like on the outside, Hololive is not a gaming company. They're not gamers. They're not a gaming agency. They play games on a regular basis, but that's the gateway. It's the free content that they, you know, that they try to rope people in with. But by and large, they are, you know, they're a talent agency and they are an idol agency. And I had made the comment that, you know, aside from the collaboration covers that Ame has done with Hollow Myth, she has not released a cover. And the only cover that she has released solo was her King cover as Small Ame, right? That's been her only solo cover. And if you look today, if you've noticed, the last, I think, five weeks now, she has suddenly become best buddies with Mel, you know, and they've played they've played, I think, Apex together a few times, but most of their interaction was before Ame was confident enough to try to speak any Japanese. And then if you notice during Mel's birthday stream, Ame made an appearance and they sang a song together. And today, on Mel's channel, there is now a placeholder for a premiere that premieres in I think 6 hours now, where they are releasing a dual cover. They sang something together. They did a dual cover together that they're releasing, but if you notice, they're releasing it on Mel's channel. They're not releasing it on Ame's channel that has twice as many subscribers. And the reason is because they are targeting this is back to targeting the Japanese audience. They're not looking to target the American audience, despite the fact that Ame has twice the fan base of what Mel has. You know, and the fact that if they would have put, Ame's name on, as the banner name with Mel and put it on her channel, it would have been, people would have gone nuts over it, because they would have looked at it and they said, "Oh, Ame's gonna be dropping a cover. Ame doesn't drop covers. We gotta check that shit out." And you know that they were gonna be dropping some Akaspas on that. You know that they would do that. People would go nuts, absolutely nuts, if Ame dropped her first cover and she had she had Mel, or she had Marin, or she had Matsuri, one of the other girls from Hollow JP that do cover songs on a regular basis, as if they were featured in that same video, but Ame's name was still the banner, people would go nuts, just like they went nuts over Gura when she dropped her first solo cover. That's just the way it is. But they don't pay attention to that stuff. And here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. All right. I don't know how deep you guys know a lot of the big VTubers out there. But a lot of these big VTubers out there, they got their side hustle going on at the same time, you know what I'm saying? They aren't just making six figures, metaphorically speaking and figuratively speaking, but in actuality, they're not raking in, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, however many thousands of dollars a month. They're not just making that off of Hololive, guys. They're making. I'm gonna I'm not gonna call out their name. Okay, I'm not gonna call out their name because I'm not gonna out them like this. That being said, I can state affirmly that there is one VTuber out there right now that I can state without a shadow of a doubt that if their actions were like, if people could literally make a huge deal over her actions, and she would no longer be part of the agency right now because of the content that she puts out. All right, and she makes bank off of that. I'm talking like, she has at least like, oh God, what was the last count? There was over 60 people that had $100 a month memberships. Okay, and that's like top of the line bank, memberships to her content. And then there's a $50 tier, and there's like at least another like 50 to 100 people that are on that tier, and she only streams twice a month. And she's getting that kind of bankroll off of that. And I'm talking $100 US. I'm not talking $100. I'm not talking like 10,000 yen or however much it is. The old comparison it used to be. But I'm talking like she. If you combine that with a lot of the other things that I know that she has monetized, I mean, she's clearing at least another 15 grand just off of her side hustle. All right. And that's US, that's conversion rate. That's not yen, that's conversion rate. And then you compare that, and then you add on to that the fact that she's also making this much money off of Hololive, right? And you know what she's making, clearing at least 25K just on super chats alone. And that don't count memberships, that don't count like monthly salary, that don't count like, anything else that she may be getting. But the fact of the matter is that, if people knew her side hustle, and people like brought that to the public's attention, there ain't no way. I mean, you thought the Rusia thing was like, messy. I mean, this would be a whole other like messy type thing, all right? And the only hint I'm going to give you is this, all right? You know how sex sells? You know how the old adage sex sells? Why do you think like last year all of a sudden almost every girl in Hololive back then was like, here, we were given a 3DO, so now we have to do ASMR. That's exactly what Hololive knows that, that brings in even more money. And so that's why they like were forcing, as many girls as possible to like try to dabble in it, even if it was just, dabble. I mean, that's why you suddenly had Corona, doing ASMR, and then you suddenly like had out of the blue, Picora was doing ASMR, and you had you had Marine doing ASMR, and it's like, you had Subaru doing ASMR. It's like, what the hell is going on here? It was like, because they were trying to, like, it's like, if we can entice enough, people like to get on board with the bandwagon, make the girls comfortable, going, do a little, make them feel a little chill, we can get more people to, like, give us money, that kind of thing, because it's, tantalizing type thing. So the thing about YouTube and ASMR is that that there is a built-in algorithm now which like starts flagging things that include like heavy panting and like a lot of other things that can be interpreted as sexual conduct. And it also really has to depend upon like the placeholder pictures and what you're using as far as like graphics are concerned, because if it gives the appearance that you are being sexual in nature, then you automatically get flagged, banned, so on and so forth. Like there, I know several ASMRists that have been trying. They try various ways to like circumvent the censoring, which I just kind of laugh and shake my head about, because I find it kind of funny. But I mean, again, YouTube is the gateway. Their main monetization comes in form of membership on a different site, so it doesn't really matter to them too much. But yeah, you have to be careful with your ASMR, because like if it sounds sexual in nature, there's certain algorithms that will automatically ban you. And that's just the way it is. But there are still like a lot of people out there that will do it, and they have found that if they're, depending on the balance of what they do versus like how they're presenting it, it could also just get age gated. So it doesn't necessarily come down, but it does get age gated to 18 or over. So, I mean, and then, of course, if you're counting on that ad revenue, then the ad revenue gets slashed in like by like 2/3. But, I digress. Yeah, as Hololive is definitely a part-time job for some of them, whereas, I mean, I always find it. I always find it. This is the other thing that really drives me nuts, guys. Okay, is that there are so many the VTuber industry, again, has kind of like this unwritten rule, right? Where if you graduate, your character is gone. You're disconnected from your fan base, etc., 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 right? And then even with when if you're not graduated, you have a lot of people who are like, well, you need to respect our privacy, right? But yet a lot of these same VTubers rely on the fact that they are known as one personality from one agency. So when they are on their private own character, that's non-affiliated with the agency, that fan base somehow magically transfers over to that other character, so they can privately gain 100% of the profits from whatever comes from that other character that they're using. So, but unless you like have the exchange of knowledge that character A is also character B, how is that fan base gonna know, so you can like get that bank from character B, unless you somehow let them know from character A that you are also character B. You know what I'm saying? Because look. There there was, okay, and this is the thing that really like kind of like blew my mind, okay? Because two of the Hall Life people that I follow were like mysteriously gone for like for weeks. Okay, they were gone for weeks. I couldn't, and they didn't really say anything. They didn't really, I mean, they would pop in here and there for like one appearance on YouTube, but then they would like disappear again, right? And I was like, what the hell's going on? So like I started doing a little bit of looking, right? Come to find out that contrary to like what they usually tell, like, the audience at large, they apparently can like take time off for each other to celebrate their own personal each other's own personal birthdays, but they can take all that time off together so they can organize their own birthday bash for that person, for them to do a one-man one-night show in person. By the way, they're not using their VTuber avatar. They were in person in front of a live crowd, and there was like, at least like, several hundred, I'm not sure what the exact count was, but they sold out, right? And that person like performed, not non-Hololive, reminder, non-Hololive, but performed a one-man set for that live audience, with everyone in the audience knowing full well who that person was and who that person like portrays, both as non-Hololive and Hololive, with two other Hololive members that were there supporting her and helping her with the entire show in the back. So potentially you could have leaked the identity and the appearance of three different Hololive people all in the same group at the same time. And I'm sitting here, and the only reason why I found this out was because like one of them, one of them was naive enough to think that she could like post updates of what she was doing for that other person on her private Twitter account, and that Twitter account was tied to another was tied to her non-Hololive webpage. So she was like constantly posting updates of what she was doing for this other person, for this person's birthday, and she was basically broadcasting what she was doing and who else was there. And it's like, no, delete it. It was I was like, oh no. But I'm like, I'm just flabbergasted. It's like, which way is it? I mean, which way really is it? Is it, I mean, because you have people who are like really gung ho about the whole, you know, VTuber, the VTuber avatars give us anonymity, so we are, and protects our privacy, so we can have a certain level of privacy, right? But yeah, at the same time, they use their same accounts to publicly post pictures and updates about what they're doing in real life, with real life pictures of themselves, and where they are and what they're doing. And it just makes me go, huh? And then they also want the same fan group that follows them on Hololive to not follow them in real life, but yet they want them to follow them on their non-Hololive VTuber account, so they can get the same fan base, and hopefully the same amount of monetization off those same people, so they can basically double dip for additional income, to run their side hustle, but yet we're not supposed to know who or what they look like. And again, it just makes me go, huh? Yes. Only this happened. This, like, I mean, this still happens. I mean, one of them caused a mini ruckus here just in the last 24 hours because she posted a picture. She posted a picture of her when she was a bridesmaid for one of her friends. Okay, one of her friends got married, and she was wearing a white dress for the wedding, as part of the bridesmaids. And she's like, I don't intend on getting married. I don't plan on getting married anytime soon, but I wanted to know what it felt like to wear something like that, and I wanted to have my picture taken. So this is the picture that was taken, right? And immediately, like, part of her fan base was like, "Oh my God, she's wearing a wedding dress. She actually went and got married, and she didn't tell anybody. And she's been hustling this the entire time. She's actually a married woman." Blah 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 blah. It's like, no. Did you not read anything she just said? you know. And again, that's why you don't like. I mean, that's when I start asking the question. Okay, you just caused your own controversy by posting a real life picture of yourself wearing a bridesmaid's dress in real life on your other account that is tied to your other non-Hololive VTuber account, which now is gonna make people like start speculating on the other side. Well, is she actually married? Did she actually get married and didn't tell anybody? Are they hiding it? And you start causing all these rumors and speculations and stuff like that. And it's like, well, I thought that's why the unwritten rule was, that the VTuber model is supposed to like help you like protect your identity. But then you get someone like Calliope Mori who goes out and does a live concert in front of over 1,000 people, and then like suddenly shows up and starts going and has been like really active and live and dropping music on her alt account in real life with and she doesn't have a VTuber persona in that alt account. And everyone knows that that's her alt account and that's what she looks like and that's how she is, in real life. Same thing with Kiara, and you start asking yourself, okay, so which way is it? I mean, is because you have one side here that is like, okay, well, yeah, I am this character and this person, but I am also this person. But right now, I'm actually two different identities, but yet we're the same person. And they still leech off the same fan group. And then you have the other side, which is like, no, the VTuber character and model is my identity. It's to help protect my personal identity, to give me anonymity so I can have a private life. But that private life also runs a secondary VTuber account to have a side hustle to get money that still leeches off the main account fan group. So it still doesn't make sense. And through the entire thing, this is all okay with Hololive. I mean, Hololive is allowing these side hustles to happen, right? A lot of these people are pulling in thousands of dollars a month on side hustles while working Hololive. And Hololive lets this happen. And there's there's no repercussions for it. There's no. It seems like they don't regulate it, and there's no restrictions on these side hustles. So they're essentially like transferring an entire fan base, in a manner of speaking, from like Hololive to their private account, to where if Calliope Mori decided, okay, you know what, I'm graduating next year, I mean, she's gonna take 2/3 of her of that fan group with her, and that fan group already knows where to find her. So that fan group is gone. I mean, you're losing that fan group, just like when they lost Russia. Okay, if you look at the numbers, if you look at the entire numbers of how much of the plus minus of growth for Hololive over this past year, the main reason, the two main reasons why Hololive is losing to Niji right now, and in the way of growth, is because they got rid of Coco and they got rid of Russia. Because combined total net growth between those two girls, the projection would have been 2.5 million new subscribers this year alone. Just between the two of them. 2.5 million subscribers is the projection of how much Hololive would have gained just off of two VTubers that they lost, and now they're with Vizojo over on Twitch. Okay? That's huge. That's why they're losing. And they can't make, they could not make that up, even with the debut of HoloX, even with pushing the other people like Mel and everyone else, all the other ones that they had neglected for so long. Even with the pushes like that, they still cannot make up that difference. But let's be straight about it. The moment that Calliope Mori decides, hey, I'm done. I mean, she's gonna take a huge chunk with her. Kiara, I mean, most people already know where Kiara's can be found. Most people have already been following her, and I mean, Kiara's dropping singles on her live account, on her live, real life account. I mean, she's basically almost set. If she ever decides to part ways, I mean, she's gonna be pretty well set. I mean, I know for a fact that at least one of the console, she owns two businesses. She don't even need Hololive. She's doing Hololive primarily because of contract work, that she's been able to, to get through Hololive, and the fact that it helps her, like, expand her horizons and her talent base, and gives her, an opportunity to expand, further into graphics, into designing, drawing, illustration, so on and so forth, and maybe branch into music. Yeah, exactly. That is almost that is exactly correct. Um, you have to you have to literally survive, on what you bring in, because, if you sign with an agency, it depends on, it depends on the wording of the contract. From the VTubers I've talked to, um, I've heard two different types of contracts that have been offered by Japan agencies. One of them is a specific non-compete contract where, you cannot engage in any, activities online that directly or indirectly compete with what you're doing for that agency, which includes independent streaming of, as a VTuber. That doesn't disclude, that doesn't include if you stream live as, your own live persona, which is why a lot of, people, they'll stream, but they'll only stream from, like, the neck down. They won't, show their face or anything like that, but they'll still stream live. Um, that's like the only way they can get around that rule. And then the other one is a specific clause, stating that, you are allowed to, do, your own internet activities, as long as you are not utilizing, the company time or assets or any kind of, like, anything that it can be trademarked back to the company that represents them. So I've seen both of those, contracts that have come across the table, but it really depends on the agency that you're signing with. Kudro, welcome to the stream. Thank you for dropping in, my friend. Thank you for dropping in. We're just, so I should really rename this to what really grinds my gears. We went from the topic of, talking about, like, what was really bothering me for the last couple weeks, to, some of the more specific things that, like, had really been irking me about, like, the whole VTuber industry, just to kind of fill you in on what we're talking about. And some of these things that we're talking about right now have, like, direct and indirect, relation to, like, how Akira and, Makoto, have been affected by, having to graduate, and the fact that, they were more or less forced to graduate by, their agency and, their employer and stuff like that. And then, the fact that there's kind of like two different worlds, where one world, it's like, you graduate, you're cut off from your fan base completely, and but yet, you have this other world where, like, you have VTubers who are like, well, yeah, I work for this agency, but I also have these alt characters that, you may not necessarily know about, but I'm also kind of out there, but yet you can't tell anybody, but yet I'm also out there with this person. But, just kind of keep it on the down low. But, like, if you really want to find me, you can come check me out here. But, so on and so forth. And then, yeah, I was just kind of going into detail also about one of the JP girls that did an actual live show, not in her VTuber form as either Hololive or non-Hololive, but she did an actual live show in front of a live audience, displaying her entire face and everything else to the entire world. And there was two Hollow behind the stage that had been helping her set up and do the entire show. So there were 3 Hololive girls there that could have potentially exposed themselves to an entire public, audience. And it's like, I thought the entire point was that, you keep it on the down low so you can have a private life. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know. I mean, and that's what drives me nuts. It's because I really wish that it would be an either or type thing. You know what I'm saying? If you have to graduate, or if you want your audience, your listeners, whatever, to know how to reach you or find you when you're not working for an agency, or you want to be able to talk to your audience in a non-agency capacity, there's so many VTubers out there that are already doing it, but yet you have so many more who say, no, we're not allowed to do that, or that's, part of the forbidden rules, that you can't break those forbidden rules. Once you're done as character X, you can't talk to the fan base of character X anymore. And it's like, why can't you just come back as a different personality or screen name or whatever? And then, I mean, that would be like, okay, better late than never. Let's say, like, you're a VTuber. Better late than never, you're a VTuber, okay? You've been a VTuber for a year now. Better late than never has to graduate, okay? But you got a fan base of 5,000 people that you want to keep in contact with, right? So, like, once you graduate, you went from better late than never to I'm always on time. I mean, that's the same thing as like what Rushia did with her and her Miki Nico, and now Nazuna, personality. Was that wrong? That's the same thing that Keisan did with her personality when she went from Coco to Keisan. Was that wrong? I mean, people treated her, both of them like dirt for the better part of a year. But still, was that wrong? No, it was not wrong. Because her fan base could find her, and they could still talk to her, and they could still reach out to her, and they could still follow her, and they could still support her. I mean, that's the point, right? That's why we're here, right? Yeah, graduate and have all your content vanish. Thank God that Manga Gamer was smart enough not to do the same thing, to pull the same thing and say, you know what, we're going to delete all the content. I mean, thank God that they were smart enough to do that. And and in fact, thank God that Manga Gamer said, you know what we're going to do? because of all the love and support this community has given to us, and given these girls over the past year, Mountain Gamer actually manned up and said, you know what? We're going to release all the membership content free of charge to anybody who wants to watch it. I mean, mind blown, man. Mind blown. I mean, if a small group, if a small company that has a fan base of 15,000 people can think of their community that much and say, you know what, they have given us so much love and support, we're going to give back to them and say, hey, you know what, you're not going to lose anything. These memories are here for you. We're giving these back to you so you can experience them anytime you want, and it's full form. I mean, that's the way you treat the people that have supported you over the past year, right? I would want my, if my Oshi was sitting there, and gonna graduate, I would hope to hell that their agency would do the same thing. Because I'll tell you what, I don't mind going out and buying hard drives, but when you're trying to rip over like 5 gigs worth of, or 5 terabytes worth of video in 30 days, I mean, that's one hell of a job. You know what I'm saying? Just to make sure that that stuff is preserved. Exactly. You don't need to do that stuff, man. Rushia, guys, Rushia's channel still has 1.5 million subscribers. Almost a year now. I mean, it's been what, 9-10 months? Something like that. And the channel still has 1.5 million subscribers to it. Do you realize how much clickbait money they could have had if they would have just left that content open? 1.5 million that are still subscribed to it. I don't get it. I don't get the mentality. And let me go back to another point that was brought up earlier, okay? One of the other reasons why I believe there's been such a big push lately for increased revenue and monetization and everything else is not just because of the financial need that is currently happening right now. All right. One of the other things I found in my research is that I was going through, I went through several of the investors' public reports, quarterly reports, and yearly reports, that are investors for Hololive and CoverCore, right? And several of them have dropped. It doesn't specify, it doesn't itemize what the investments are for. Okay, I want to make it clear that it doesn't. The reports don't specify like specific projects or anything like that of what the money is going for. All right, but several of the investors have fronted money for projects for this physical year. And I'm talking that there's like tens of millions of yen that are being spent. All right. Now, one has to assume that a lot of this money that is being spent is being invested into the whole Hollow Earth, Hollow Universe type of thing that they have been trying to build over the past year. Okay, if my assumption is correct, and the fact that they have been trying to push over and over and over again for this whole Hollow Earth thing to come into existence. One of the things that I found very interesting was that their job, they have like hundreds of job openings. Okay, they have hundreds of job openings. They have been they have had postings for front end and back end network engineers, network administrators, project leads for Hollow Earth, and for for Unity software engineers. But I'm wondering. I am almost guessing that if the money that I've seen from the investors are being pulled out and invested in the fashion that it's being invested in, I'm willing to assume that they are probably taking that money and investing it into a third party to help them develop the game as opposed to in-house develop it, because there are at least two different developers that have specifically worked with Unity that have direct ties with the financial reports. One of them has they work with MMO environments, and then the other one, they've done several different games and stuff like that, and they would have the workforce required to be able to build the game, as opposed to trying to hire their own engineers. Because honestly, the job postings that they have right now for the area that Hololive currently is in, has their offices in. I mean, honestly, guys, they don't pay Unity software engineers a lot of money over there, so I can understand why they are not having a lot of success trying to hire them. And considering the fact that software engineers typically are underpaid and overworked in Japan, I don't blame anyone for not working for that kind of money or lack thereof. I mean, if you get certified, or if you get the degree or whatever it is, certification, and to be a Unity engineer or software programmer, you're almost better taking that and then coming over to the United States, where you're guaranteed to start off at like 40 grand a year, versus if you were to work over there where you only get 25 grand a year. I mean, that's basically how much they make. Entry level Unity software engineer makes like 25 grand a year over there, and that's it. They may also get like some accommodations, like they'll pay for transportation, and which means that they'll pay for their either their bus pass or their subway pass. But yeah, I mean, they don't pay a lot. But I mean, that's my assumption. I mean, again, they would have to invest 200 million just to make a game comparable to Genshin Impact 1.0, and Genshin Impact 1.0 was not true multiplayer, much less had any base building or like customization or anything else like that. And like Tower of Fantasy and Genshin Impact are the closest thing that you're going to get to a comparison of what Hololive is trying to do game world wise with a Unity type build. Because their engine is based. Their engine has a foundation built upon or with Unity mechanics or Unity components in it, so which can make it comparable, but it's not true Unity. But it's a merger of Unity coding and then their own proprietary code. So if you want to have a good idea of what the world is probably going to look like, either Tower Fantasy or Genshin Impact would be your best bets. Which isn't bad, by the way. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, if you know anything about like the teapot in Genshin Impact, I mean, you know how clunky the building mechanics are in that. And then again, if you're going to spend $200 million just to make a game like this, it's going to have to be free to play, and it's going to have to be monetized, and they're going to be asking like lots of money and monetization just to try to recuperate their costs. So damn well that there's going to be monetization in it, and that they're likely going to start, just like with everything else, it's going to be gotcha. And they're going to be putting the girls up, as 3 stars or 4 stars, and if you want certain powers or like unlocks or something like that, you want to have I don't know, if you want Ami's ground pound as your super move, you're going to have to pull a 3-star Ami. I mean, that's just kind of how it's going to be. I mean, that's how much. So, all right. So, basically, what Hollow Earth, what they are describing with Hollow Earth, all right, is what Yago and the community managers have described with what they want to do with Hollow Earth, the game Hollow Earth that they're trying to release, is basically on par with what what Genshin Impact is. Okay, so it's an always online game that you have a character in. Now. Let me take that back. It's comparable to Tower Fantasy and Genshin Impact. Okay. It's kind of like a blend between the two of them. All right. Now, if you look at the how much it costs to develop Genshin Impact 1.0, it was $200 million. Yeah, I believe it was $200 million in 2019, 2020, money, which, adjusted for inflation would be a lot more now. But that was just to build 1.0. Okay? So, if they want to build that kind of game with that kind of robust system, and have a story in it, and let you do quests, and you do all sorts of other things. You have dungeon raids, and you have like this entire fantasy world that you can explore, you can build in, you can make your house in, you can go raiding with other listeners and stuff like that. You're gonna have to do exactly what they're doing now, right? You're gonna have to build a mythos. You're gonna have to build an entire world. You're going to have to develop a storyline, a main story plot for the person to travel through. There's going to have to be some kind of conflict that you have to, that the person is a hero that has to go fix, that kind of thing. Um, in order to do base building, have real life online, mechanics, that's not just peer to peer. You're going to have a server farm. You're going to have, always online, mechanics for that. You're going to have engineers to maintain that, so on and so forth, right? That, for Genshin Impact to run that kind of thing, it was like, I believe it was like 200 million just to develop it and put it out and get it live. All right. Now, if Hollow Earth is going to be anything close to what they're trying to describe and reach the reality of what they're hoping to actually achieve, I mean, assuming that the fan base, even 100,000 people play the game, you're still going to have servers that can accommodate, 10, 15,000 players at a time. And that's still going to cost, tens of millions of dollars, which is why you're seeing a lot of push for trying to get revenue in now, because there has been a lot of heavy investment by the investors over this past physical year into their respective investments, including Cover and Hololive. And it's not just hiring new talent either. It's they according to some of the itemization that the generic itemization that they show, there's been a lot. There was a lot of buying, renting out office space, buying new equipment, getting new supplies, hiring new staff, that kind of thing. But you're talking that they're spending tens of millions of yen per quarter, and they are not pulling in a direct revenue as a result of those investments. It's all investment. It's none of it is reinvestment on return. They're not getting any return on it. It's all going into investment for research, development, and production. So, the end result of it is that it's going somewhere to develop something to hopefully have an end product that is going to have a return on investment, but it's not immediate. It has not been completed yet, or that investment has not come to fruition yet to where they're going to get a return on that investment. So it's not loss, but it's revenue that is going out of the investment company, as opposed to money that is being set aside, or they're investing it into something that it's going to mature, and then they're going to get a return on it within 5 to 10 years, like a bank investment. It's all going to production, is what I'm saying. And the big investment firms that are affiliated with Hololive, all the 5 that I looked at, all had huge investments that they have dropped over this past year. So, again, whether or not that means it's going solely into Hololive, or it's going also going into other investments that they may also have along the side, that they may have I'm sure with a diverse portfolio that they also have multiple investments that they're doing at the same time. But still, there's still a lot of money that is going out, but the revenue that is coming back in is not based on the money that they are expending. The money that's coming in is already on established product, such as Hololive, such as ad revenue for other products that they are currently invested in. Those types of things. None of the investments that they have put money out for have brought back an immediate return in this past year yet. So, um, which again leads us to the point of that if you're going to spend money on making this game, if you're not going to charge for entry for the game, to purchase the game, like Hollow Air, for example, it's going to have to be free to play in order to recoup the cost of development for it. And if you're going to put base building in it, if you're going to put party mechanics into it, if you're going to have an always online server for it, for dungeon raiding, for whatever purpose that they're doing, there's going to have to be a monetization policy for it, and supposedly at one point we were supposed to be able to make our own avatar, but then they are also advertising that there's going to be this character model that has been developed by some artist, right? So there's that's into the mix as well, which also brings into the point, well, if we're going to be able to meet all the people in Hololive in that world, and we're not going to be directly controlling them, then it seems to me that the alternative to that would be, it would be similar to like how Tower of Fantasy is when you're able to summon those types of powers of those people, and you like for example, like Noelle, like you pull a 3-star Noelle or whatever, and she has like an Iron Will type thing where she turns into a knight, or you get muscles, like you get tremendous strength or tremendous defense or something like that, So I mean, it really sounds like, I mean, to me, if it ever comes to fruition, which we haven't really heard anything since then, but of course, knowing me, I said the same thing about Ame and her cover songs, and she's releasing one with Mel in like 5 hours now. I mean, I'm assuming we'll probably hear something by the end of the year, right, Yago? Since you are obviously listening to me and you're constantly taunting me, my arch nemesis. Sounds like we would see Hollow Earth in an episode of What Happened. What happened? Na 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 na. Matt McMuscles and What Happened? Yeah. Who's the other one? There's there's another guy that he's like a magical wizard, and every time he starts his show, he's like, I'm so and so, and here I am standing on your PC, and 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 then he talks about like a game that failed, and then it's like, tune in next time where you will find me standing upside down on your toilet. I love watching those shows. But just real quickly, to cover something that I wanted to talk about before I forget. I was just kind of looking at my schedule here, coming up. I gotta finish Soma, man. I mean, it's already like past halfway through November, and I still haven't finished Soma yet. Oh god. Okay, so I am I am going to try to I'm pretty sure I'm close to the end. I mean, not close, but probably a few hours away from finishing Soma. So I gotta finish that game just so I can get it done. I mean, I started it on my channel. I want to be able to finish it and not drop yet another game on my channel to go to jump into something else. So I'm gonna try to endurance it either not tomorrow, but probably Friday. Because I have like really been resisting the urge to start Bayonetta, because I heard Bayonetta 3 is really 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 good, and I remember watching Ina play Bayonetta 2, and I really liked it. I'm not sure if I am gamer enough to like match her skill, but I'm definitely gonna try. But I would really like to be able to start Bayonetta here next week if I can. So yeah, 1.5 months left in the month. Yeah, I know. It's just crazy. It did, Pyro. Thank you for asking. You know, I just I needed to get I need to get um I need to get a lot of that stuff off my chest, and in fact, after I talked to my senpai Ankaro this morning, um she she really knows how to cheer me up. Hoshinan, my I call her my Emoto, my other Emoto, because I love playing games with her as well. Uh, they both know how to cheer me up, and unfortunately, she's been under a lot of stress lately as well, so she's been taking a little bit of time off, and largely been away from social media itself, so I haven't been able to talk to her. But Ankuro was able to kind of perk me up and cheer me up a little bit this morning, and for the first time in almost almost a week and a half, 2 weeks now, I started working on a script for for a couple of videos, and I mean they're nothing elaborate or anything like that. But what I had planned on doing was for Thanksgiving, for us in America here next week, it's Thanksgiving, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to do some I wanted to do some thank you videos for next week, and one of them I started writing for was for Makita, Akira and Makoto, and then of course for Hoshinan and for Ankaro and for Roboko, just to thank them for what they have done for me, for this past year. And talking to Ankaro, and just kind of crying a little bit while talking to her, she was able to kindly put into words, that, that they, even if they're not here anymore, or if they're not streaming anymore, they're still with me, and that, if I'm sad, I know where to find them, and I know where to find her, you know, and that's true. It's very true. I mean, I carry a picture. I mean, I, I, you know, on Carol, I wanted her to know how much, finding her early last year meant to me, and so, I mean, I told her, I said, I live all the way in the United States. I know it's going to cost a lot of money to support you and buy merch from you for your first anniversary, but I want you to know just how far your reach has been and how much you mean, how much you've done for me. So I'm buying this, and she wrote messages to everyone who bought certain packages, and so when that package arrived, I took a picture of it, and I carry that picture on my phone as my wallpaper and as my lock screen, and for a while there, I had forgotten. I had really forgotten that every time I was sad, all I had to do was look at my phone and see my senpai smiling at me. And a big message saying thank you very much for, all your support, for this past year. And honestly, for her, it means a lot, because she didn't think that anybody that spoke English would care about what she did. She is like, English listeners, hello, and I tried talking to her a little bit off and on, and she's like, I'm sorry, I don't speak English, and I told her, I said, if I start trying to talk to you in Japanese to show you how much that how much of your streams have meant to me, will you give me a chance to be your friend? And and I started trying to reach out to her in Japanese, and I started talking to her, asking her questions about how do you say this properly, how do you do this properly, and she saw like a lot of the effort that I was putting into it, and then she saw the effort that I was giving her earlier this year, before all this stuff happened, where I was trying to help her with translating her tweets from Japanese to English, so we could have it in both languages, those types of things, and I believe that if Akira, and especially Akira, if Aki-chan was listening to us right now, she'd be going, so you're still doing that for her, right? You're still helping her, right? You're still going to be there for her in the future, right? I mean, I could just hear her questioning me like that, you're always going to be there for your senpai, right? I can hear her, like, asking me those questions, because she knows that I can't be there for her, for Aki, for Makoto anymore, but I can still be there for my senpai. I can still be there for Hoshinon. And when I talked to my senpai earlier today, yeah, I was sneezing like, yeah. Yeah. But while I was talking to my senpai earlier today, um, it made me realize that, my senpai said, you know, well, I knew something was really bothering you because I hadn't, you haven't been around for over a week now. But she didn't want to intrude because, she saw what I was saying in English, but she didn't know how to put into words, what to say to me, because she couldn't, quite get the context of what I was saying in English, but she saw that I was sad and I was upset and everything else, and so I explained it to her. But it made, it's one of the other reasons why I love those girls to death, and I really want to meet them again. And in some form or another, because both of those girls have taught me so much. Even if they were just just two sisters that were just kind of there to play around and get attention and gather attention ever so much more, and I believe that the talent behind those two girls, they may have started off thinking this was just a job. We're just going to be VTubers and we're just going to do this. And then by the end of that road, they had found that, they had built real connections with real people who really loved them and cared about them. And that they had, really become a family with all of us together, and I really believe that Aki's last her letter to us was very sincere and direct, and from the heart, and that's why it cut so deep. It's because it's almost like she could read what was in my heart. And there's a lot of anxiety in there, because we're still standing, they aren't, in a matter of speaking. We're still here, is a better way of saying it. We're still here and they're not, and so I really want to be able to do my best, I also realize that I am far from somebody who does a great job at anything, and that's why I always feel like I'm a screw up, because I constantly make a mess of everything I do. Even though I try my best. But Yeah. Yeah, I hope so. But, um, just being able to kind of talk about things, kind of get things off my chest is very helpful. Having people listen, talk in return, talk about, a lot of these other things that, really, in my mind, should be discussed. And that's what my channels has been largely about. Is if it's not about playing games that I'm enjoying, it's about discussing things that are on my mind. And not all of it's the most interesting of topics, but some of it, you know, especially when it involves VTubers or the industry as a whole, can be interesting. Um, I've been considering taking some of the things I've been working on and just kind of trying to do a little bit of try to do uh, either like a short form type of documentary of why I feel it's a problem, or for bigger ones, either do multi parts. But I always find that live video seems to do better than a video that I upload, unless I promote it, which costs me money, which I played around with and found very interesting. But I digress. Um, yeah. But at any rate, so we're gonna try to finish Soma at the end of this week. Start Bayonetta next week. Um, yeah, Calvin, we'll catch you later, my friend. Thank you so much for stopping in. I appreciate you being here. I'm wrapping things up as well, so we're making perfect timing together, my friend. So thank you for stopping in. We'll talk to you later. Um, yeah, we got Soma that we're gonna try to finish this week, and then start Bayonetta next week. Of course, Pokemon, Scarlet and Violet start next week as well, but I'm not sure if we're gonna do anything like that online. I believe that several of us are gonna at least play the game and then try to train up some of our Pokemon, and then do kind of like a tournament type thing. I know Ankaro had mentioned wanting to do that, and then also try to do like a meetup, so we could trade any Pokemon that we may be missing, across like different versions and whatnot. And then I'm not sure if there's going to be like region specific Pokemon or not. I know that some people talked about it, but I don't know if there's going to actually be region specific. But um, am I thinking about doing some self help mental health videos? Well, that's definitely a possibility. I did do I did do my if you look back at some of my earlier videos, I did do a commentary response to Rita from Prison Project about mental health several weeks ago, and where we did talk about that. We have actually talked about mental health a number of times on my channel, with regards to like a specific VTuber that has displayed mental health issues. We have not specifically talked about like depression or loneliness or anything like that, in regards to like how to self-help or to be a support member towards each other. But that's definitely something that we could talk about. It is a useful topic because I believe that there is a lot of people within the community, and I mean, as many of us know from, um, from the community, that we we've gone through a lot of different things. Um, I mean, again, I've worked. For those that don't know, I worked 8 years, almost 8 years, 7 years, almost 8 years, in mental health as a technician. So I've worked with everything from depression to schizophrenia to bipolar, manic depression, so on and so forth. So I've worked with a lot of those mental illnesses before. Um, Purely on the hospitalization side, not so much on the clinical treatment side, but um, there's still aspects involved with that's for therapeutic purposes that you can talk about. And then I know a bunch of psychologists. Because I live in a university town, and one of the majors here in my particular town is psychology. So I know a lot. I know several psychologists, that they've actually referenced a bunch of books that I've read. So um, yeah, I mean, it's not a problem that we could talk about it. And I actually think it would be very helpful, if we did do a nice weekly calm live chat, um, about dealing with depression, maybe the warning signs of it, the dealing with it, how best to handle things when you're experiencing depression, because I mean, depression itself is a very broad topic. Yeah, I mean, you could live with depression for years, if not decades, and you know have a singular event way down the line trigger you to bottom out, and then you go into the danger zone. you know but I mean, for years you could sit there and just kind of have a gloomy you know outlook on life, and people are like, well, you're just pessimistic. And then something happens, and then you kind of like dive off the deep end, and then your personality changes, and then people start wondering what happened, right? And it's you may have been depressed your entire life, because of something that's happened that you've just never addressed. I mean, I personally, just to share a quick story, um I was bullied from the time I was in fourth grade all the way through high school. you know from the time I got onto the bus to the time I got to school, the only time I had any kind of respite was when we were in class. I was bullied, during recess. I was bullied during PE. I was bullied on the ride back home from school. I mean, it took half an hour to get home on the bus, and I was constantly being punched, hit, kicked, spit on every single day. You know, and that happened for most of my childhood, all the way till like My senior year, I didn't get bullied. But that was only because all the bullies by then had either been, kicked out of school or dropped out. And they mostly left me alone when my junior year, but that was because I by then I had started weightlifting and I started like putting on like muscle and everything, and so I was actually like the same size as them, and and so they started having second thoughts about messing with me by then, but I was still like heavily like bullied, like verbally abused, um yeah, it was bad. It was really bad, but I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell anybody because my sister was a screw up, and literally a screw up. She was getting arrested when she was 14. She had a kid when she was 15. She had a second kid when she was 16. She got kicked out of the house when she was 17. I mean, my sister was constantly making a mess of things. I didn't want to, all of a sudden spring it up on my parents. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm having trouble at school. In the middle of my sister's drama. So I kept it to myself. I thought I was going to be an inconvenience to them, so I didn't say nothing. Oh, I wish we had boxing class. I really wish we had boxing class. And that was the other problem too, was that a lot of those bullies, they were also taking like like taekwondo, or they were taking like karate, or things like that. So of course they thought they were like really badass and whatnot. So yeah, I mean I kept all that stuff to myself, and I was bullied my most of my childhood. As early as I can remember, when I was 4 years old, we my father was in the military, and we got stationed over in Germany. This was this was still like post Cold War, but there was still a lot of racism going on in Germany. And of course, here I am, a Japanese kid, 4 years old, in a German town, right? And so of course, here's this foreign kid that's running around, in this German town, and I'm being called a mongrel because I wasn't pure blood. I wasn't German. I mean, grown up me wanted to say, hey, my country teamed up with your country and we got bombed for it, so shut the hell up. We had the atomic bomb dropped on us because of you guys losing, okay? So this, like, don't even give me that crap. I mean, grown up me wants to say that to those people back then, but it's like, if you guys would have won the European side, we wouldn't have been bombed, like, had the A bomb dropped on us. But no, I mean, that's just, sarcastic me, just kind of being snarky. But I mean, for 2 years, when that we lived over in Germany, I mean, I put up with a lot of racism over there as a kid, and having, other German kids being told, you can't play with that kid over there because he's a mongrel. He's not pure blood. And it's like, really? Wow. See, that's the thing. I didn't learn martial arts, but my I was fortunate enough my sophomore year. I met a couple of guys that were like they were like really scrappy. I mean, they were like, they loved to argue with each other. They were brothers. They were brothers, and they were like, a year and a half apart. Um, and they love to like talk shit to each other, right? And they were always like arguing and fighting, stuff like that. And but we all became really good friends, ironically. And so one of the things that they picked up on was that by then, I was a very submissive guy, because I had been abused so much that, I just sat there and took it. And so, they're like, hey, we're going to teach you to fight. And I'm like, I can't beat anybody up. And they're like, dude, you're big enough to be a linebacker right now. All you got to do is work out. If you lift some weights, and you learn how to like do some moves, do a takedown or two, do some punching, learn how to punch, how to like properly grapple with somebody, when you're doing a fight, you'll be fine. And so like so they started scrapping with me a bit, when we started like messing with each other, and they taught me basically how to take care of myself. It was no martial arts, but they taught me how to street fight, more or less. And it really helped, because it gave me the kind of the self-confidence to like say, hey, I mean, you've put up with you put up with so much your entire life, you need to stand up for yourself a little bit. So and that's and that's why, like, a lot of times, for those of you who don't regularly know me, or just are just now getting to know me, that's why you'll see me a lot of times get really, really angry, either in stream, on stream, or on Twitter, or even on Discord. It's because, like, if I see something that happens to somebody and I think it's like really, really wrong, I mean, I don't, pardon my French, but I don't give two fucks. I'm going to say something about it, and I usually end up causing trouble when I say something about it, but I'm going to say something about it because that's just who I am, and that's just the way I am. And at times, I get really emotional about these types of things, because it's either something I'm very passionate about, or it happens to somebody I really care about, or it's some kind of injustice that I think it is really undeserved, when they the person that's at the center or core of that particular problem or situation deserves to have their time and their chance to explain what's going on, instead of people jumping to conclusions. That's one of the biggest reasons why my channel blew up the way it did last year, was there were so many people gossiping about Russia way back when, that when everything first started happening, I was like, no, look, okay, we're gonna sit down, and we're all gonna sit down together, and we're gonna go through the facts, and we're gonna talk through the facts. We're gonna show the facts. We're gonna have the facts on screen. That's why I had this big black screen right next to me. Because we were going through, okay, this is what the press releases say. Okay, this is what the official releases say. Okay, this is what their stances are. These are the messages. These are the Twitter posts that are actually being said. These are the ones that were deleted. We actually went through every single thing. instead of having people doing their own little videos and they're like, well, so and so is doing this, and now we have talk of a fourth boyfriend that she was dating at the same time as she was dating Mafu. Like, no, she wasn't. She wasn't dating 5 guys at once. I mean, come on. Where's your proof? Okay? Now, this is what actually happened. I mean, that's what we did. I mean, that it's one of the only ways that I know how that I can, like, help stand up for other people. And it may not do much at the end, but, I know that it's at least done something, and it has done something, or at least helped. I know for a fact that, I know for a fact that Miki Nico has read my emails, and that she has responded to, a few things that I have sent her. Unfortunately, she seems to have, like, completely, like, stopped listening to most people who are trying to give her advice, which is her call. But she obviously seems to be feeling better now, so she feels like she doesn't need to listen to that advice anymore, which is, again, her call. But I just hope she doesn't have another mental breakdown in the process, because we're not going to be there for her this time around if she has another mental breakdown. But that's a different story. But I mean, like, I'm seriously wondering, just as a side topic, and I know that John, welcome to the broadcast. I'm glad that you're here. Thank you so much for dropping in, my friend. I am. It's a pleasure to meet you, and it's a pleasure to have you in the stream here. We've been covering a bunch of different topics here. All of them have been related to. No, it's, hey, I mean, it's all things that, I can turn back around now and say, I mean, these are things I've gone through, so I can at least sympathize with other people that go through those things. I'm still struggling with a lot of those, a lot of, like, I've been told numerous times that, part of, like, my self-esteem, that the reason why I have low self-esteem is because of the ex's bullying when I was a kid, which I could see. And, I've had a lot of, I mean, I could sit here for another 5-6 hours and tell you, like, my life story. And by the time that we're done, you would be asking me for the alcohol I have sitting on my desk, because it would be that sad. Not that I'm drinking, mind you. I still have a bottle of I still have a half a bottle of mead that's sitting here on my desk from the last time I had any from their graduation. But no, I mean, I share a lot of this stuff with my listeners freely, because mead's actually really good. It's it's fermented honey, and if you like having, like, liquor that or alcohol that has kind of like that little sweet kick to it, it's really, really good. I would recommend it if you like alcohol like that. If you don't like sweet alcohol, then you probably won't like it, but it's good. As a segue, a quick segue, if you ever have, like, a sore throat, Mead is actually really good. Since it's fermented in honey, if you like warm it up a little bit and you add it to, or you add it to hot tea, and you just like drop in like a shot worth of it, and you mix it in with hot tea. I mean, it really makes your throat feel good. um, it helps coat your throat. And also the kind of depends on like the level of fermentation, and how it's made. But it works really good. It definitely helps with your like, sore throats and that kind of thing. So, I enjoy it. It goes down really smooth for me, you know. And I don't have to mix it with like whiskey 7 or whiskey Coke. I can just drink it straight, which is always fun. But no, I was I was talking about my experiences with like Miki Nico and whatnot. Um, and especially with like mental illnesses and just kind of dealing with other people that are dealing with those things. And then of course dealing with myself that's dealing with those things. With depression and whatnot. I definitely think it's a good topic to cover because there are there's an equal amount of VTubers out there that deal with mental illness that also that hide it as much as somebody who may be a listener or a fan or a traveler or a deadbeat, whichever the fan base may be. If you have followed any of the Hololive girls over the last few years, almost every let's see here, Lami, everyone makes fun of Lami's alcoholism, but she was actually severely depressed, to the point where everyone was extremely worried about her, because she was literally drinking so much that she could not even stream correctly. And I don't know how many people noticed that about a year and a half ago, but she has really turned it around, with over the last year and a half. She still gets, she still drinks and she still does get drunk, but I mean, she was drinking to the point where she was like waking up and drinking, and then she'll pass out, and she'd show up to practice and she was like hungover, or she was, you could smell the alcohol in her. And and this was what other people that were there, that I can't really state who was saying it, but they were saying it was really bad, and she was able to clean up, but it took a lot for her to clean up. She's not nearly as bad now, but she was really depressed. Noelle has went through a very bad depression, and that was in 2020 when she was accused of having a boyfriend back then, and she was under the microscope really, really heavily. And of course, Marine and not so much Miko, but Marin, when she went through all that controversy last year, she was in severe depression. I mean, she was like where I was here 2 weeks ago, where she didn't even want to get out of bed, and that's how bad she was. I mean, those are just a couple. Guerilla had to take an extended leave of absence because she was severely depressed. Mori, she was severely stressed and depressed. Yeah, I mean, Miko G, she hides it really well. I mean, she did take some time off, but she didn't take too much time off. Especially since she wasn't directly responsible or in trouble, in all that stuff. But yeah, thank you for stopping in, Pyro. I really appreciate it. I hope you stop in again when we are, doing some, more fun and less, more cheerful stuff. But we will. I will take like a lot of these are comments and suggestions under advisement, and we may try doing some additional talks about like depression and all that other stuff, to see if there are especially if there are other people that do need to talk about what they're going through. So thank you so much for stopping in, my friend. It was nice seeing you. Yeah, Guro has taken a lot of time off because she's been extremely burned out. Yeah. Have a good one. We'll catch you later. Ah, I didn't even notice my background music stopped. That says she was writing a diary with phrases of love. That's a really brilliant idea that she did. I actually like that. Um, there's a lot of times where I'll think back to like different streams that Makita will do, and try to remember a funny moment or something that they said, that a quip that they may have said that was very cheerful or upbeat or something like that. um there's been quite a few streams that not just from them but also other people that I'll think back and I'll try to you know remember those moments when I feel down or when I feel depressed, just so I can try to have something to look forward to, or something to brighten my day, you know because if you're able to remember why you are fighting so hard or working so hard, it makes the enduring what you're going through a lot more bearable than just saying, okay, this is another day, it's another mountain to climb type thing. Subject: JP Brewers are marketing more to women with products. Yes, you've noticed that too, haven't you? Strong Zero and Hoshidan also like signed up for some sponsorship of some like beverage that she was given a 6-pack to advertise on her stream of some drink that basically it's a drink that you're supposed to be able to drink, and then you experience absolutely no hangover the next day. And it's supposed to be some kind of sake that they made, and it's yo they were like, if you're a VTuber and you want and you talk about our product, we'll give you sponsorship for it if you talk about our product and stuff like that. And it's a company similar to Strong Zero. But Hoshinon actually started drinking Strong Zero while she was in October, and she was doing basically it was when she was playing her horror games, every time she screamed she had to take a sip, and she got so wasted. She was because she was screaming the entire time she was playing. It's she was playing some Japanese horror game where she was being chased in a maze type thing, and she had to try to figure out how to get out, and she got stuck on one level, and she kept on getting chased, and she was constantly screaming, and she drank 2 or 3 of them, and she was just completely hammered. It's I think you've had enough to drink. I kind of wish that they had those over here in the United States, because I kind of want to know what they taste like, but I have a feeling they're probably Mike's Hard Lemonade or something like that. But yeah, they have really been pushing alcohol towards women lately. But I mean, it's a big market. It's a really big market. I mean, it's. I read an article today that they say now that in Japan, 1 out of every 5 marriages in Japan started. 1 out of every 5 marriages in Japan now are the couple met through a dating app. So 20% of all marriages now in Japan, the bride and groom met with a dating app. That's kind of that's a big number. 1 out of every 5. I mean, they don't meet in school anymore. They don't meet in college anymore. They don't meet at work anymore. I mean, I guess it's better than an arranged marriage, but I don't know. Anyways, yeah. So, yeah, let's go ahead and start wrapping things up here. So tomorrow, I will be off, because for those of you who don't know, I am still rehabbing my left hand from surgery on it, which has been going extremely well. So they said that probably in another 2 or 3 months, my hand should be back to where it should be. So, but then I had to start thinking about having surgery on the right hand, which means I'll have to go through the whole thing all over again. Fun. but that's several months away. So tomorrow, rehab. So I won't be streaming. Friday, I'm gonna go ahead and try to target Friday to finish Soma. We'll start again around 8 p.m. Central Time, and see if we can't endurance stream it to the end. I think if I looked at the guide, I just kind of glanced at a couple of guides, and it looks like I'm probably about 2 to maybe 4 hours from the end, depending on how lost I get again. So, hopefully we can finish that on Friday, and then we can start looking at doing Bayonetta. Because, again, I have the entire trilogy I want to play through. I know that's kind of that's kind of a lengthy challenge, but I really hope I can do it. Don't worry, I spent about 2 hours like completely lost in the last Soma stream. And I was like so lost, and then I was like, okay, that's it. I'm just gonna find the guide and then figure out where I'm at and figure out why I'm lost, right? And kind of find out, it's like I kept going around in circles over and over and over again, and all I had to do was like climb up one ladder and then jump down. And I kept on missing the spot where I needed to jump down. It's like, oh man. Did I tell you about the... No, you didn't. It's a good game. I've been really surprised, and there's been for those that have stopped in during my Soma plays. I've had some very comical parts, and then there's some parts that have like literally freaked me out before. So yeah, it's a really good game. Good lore. Very it's the story is supposed to be thought provoking, but in my opinion, there's some very big fallacies in the logic behind it. But I mean that can also be part of why the story itself is supposed to be thought provoking, because humanity thought that was the only way to survive. But it's a very good game. It's a very, very good game. What was I gonna say? Oh, so I have one last thing. In closing, I have been looking and looking and looking and looking, hoping to snipe myself RTX 3070 Ti, right? And prices for the 3070 Ti have actually started going up again because of all the problems with the 40 RTX 40 series, with all the wires burning on the RTX 40s. Yeah, because the RTX 3070 Ti's, they were like, they were starting to like scrape $470, and they were starting to work their way down to about $400, and then now they're starting to spike back up over 500 again. And all the RTX 3070s that, most of them are like the same prices as the TIs. They're all, well over $500 again. Um, and they're actually places now that are ripping out the RTX 3070 um, um, mobile video cards and trying to mount them on bigger circuit boards and then resell them as like desktop video cards because they can't keep them in stock. So yeah, it's like really it's been really weird, right? And then the 3080s, of course, they have bumped back up in price a bit. Because I was originally looking at trying to get a 3080. Just because for the tower I have, it's older. It's I'm gonna have to replace the power supply if I got a 3070 Ti or a 3080 or higher, or anything a 3070 Ti or higher. But in the meantime, it's my power supply is just strong enough to hold a 3070 Ti. But I wouldn't be able to do add anything else to it without upping the power supply. But I mean, with the prices the way they are, it's like they're raising the prices back up so then they can discount them back down to the recommended price of $500. So I was like, but then I managed to snag a 3060 Ti for 300. So I was like, a 3060 for $300 and there's only about a 7% performance difference between a 3060 Ti and a 3070 is not that bad. And if I was able to get a 3060 Ti for 300 as opposed to a 3070 which was 500 with only a 7% performance drop, that's not terrible, So I figure and it's only it's only a 10 watt it's only a 10 watt increase on my power supply as opposed to a 3070 or a 3070 Ti, which would have been I think like a 20 or 30 watt increase. So I mean it's not terrible. I mean I still have a lot of wiggle room with my current power supply too, so I don't have to replace it right away. But I'm still going to be shopping around for a power supply so I can swap it out. Because I mean, I have a computer in my other room that's still running Windows 7 Professional, and that computer is now 14 years old. And it still runs great. And the only thing that I've had to do is swap the power supply, put in a solid state drive, and add some RAM to it. And it runs great. And I mean, it run. I'm not gonna run like Crisis on it or play like Apex on it, but I mean, it still functions as a word processing. It still functions for surfing the internet. It still works fine for like a file server. I mean, it still functions great. So I might as well take care of it. Take care of this one too. And if I do end up snagging like a new computer, and that computer also has like a 3060 Ti in it, then I can just drop in the second one and then have two video cards in there and run both video cards simultaneously. You know, um, you know, they have that option for, you know, NVIDIA as well. So I mean that would work just as fine as well. So, you know, then I can have like, you know, 6 screens going at once. Yeah, but yeah, so I'm just I gotta actually wait for that to arrive. That should arrive like Monday, I believe, which I'm kind of excited. I mean, I want to see the difference between, because right now all I have in here is a GTX 1080, but I mean I can still upscale to 1440 with my current computer, but you know, I want to see what it, you know, how the difference is when you drop a RTX in it, because I mean the RTX is supposed to be at least the 3060 is supposed to be at least 25 to 30% stronger than the GTX I currently have. So I'm kind of interested to see how well everything functions once I drop that in. Because I still have, like, you know, I still have a my drawing tablet, like, I haven't hooked up to the computer yet. Well, I've hooked it up, but I don't keep it hooked up because, you know, it starts like slowing things down because of the graphics card. So, you know, that's the other reason why I got it. So, anyways, I am going to go ahead and end the stream here today. Thank you, everyone that has dropped by. Thank you, everyone who is still here in the chat with me, and sat here and listened to me talk about everything. I appreciate it. It's very helpful to see familiar faces, new faces, people that have come from, you know, Go Nippon, people that are, you know, regulars here on the channel. It's a great melding pot of new faces and old faces. You know, I know some of you guys I you know, probably have catched on Discord, and I appreciate you dropping in here as well, because it's comforting to be able to talk about these kinds of things, especially when we're, you know, a lot of us are going through you know, similar things with losing, you know, Akira and Makiro. But at the same time, you know, being able to talk about these things, and then, like, you know, a lot of other things have, you know, that's part of how progress is made, right? So, you know, thank you so much for you know, being those avenues of even if you're just listening, you know, in the background. I mean, I appreciate it. Like I said, hopefully here on Friday, we'll finish Soma, you know, and then we can get on to Bayonetta, which will, you know, hopefully kind of lighten the mood a little bit. And of course, like I said, you know, Pokemon's you know, going to be releasing here pretty quick. I'm not sure how much or how much of that I'm going to be streaming, but, you know, that's going to be out. And then next month, Splatoon 3, they're releasing their next round of weaponry and stuff like that. So I know that several of us are going to be, like, continuing to keep our skills sharpened. So I may just stream that, just to stream it, you know. And if people drop in to talk, you know, we can always chat while I'm playing. If not, that's fine too. But otherwise, guys, thank you so much for stopping in. We'll catch you on Friday. I appreciate everyone giving in your input. Yeah, it's great. It's great to talk to everybody. It's great to be back. It's great to see a lot of some new faces and some returning faces. Thank you so much for being here, guys. We'll catch you on Friday. Until then, this is Marko Yamashita signing off. Peace.
Hands wrapped, knuckles taped black. Pick my gloves up off the mat. Fighting's all I ever had. Wasn't born with tons of gifts. Had to work hard as a kid.